Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update 2. Soon everyone will know he's been messing with his stepmother and stepsister. Original post. For a little while, I've suspected my husband of cheating. I didn't have any justification for thinking or feeling this way, but I couldn't stop having this gut feeling that something was wrong. So I decided to keep a closer eye on him, and I still found nothing. And for a long time I was angry with myself for suspecting him and for invading his privacy. We went to marriage counseling and I apologized for breaking his trust in me, and for a little while, all was well. I can't believe I apologized to that lying sack of turd. But that wretched feeling never went away. I tried so hard to get over this feeling that he was deceiving me in some way, and I just couldn't. So I decided it was time to hire a private investigator, instead of playing Inspector Gadget myself. Let me tell you, this was the best thing I ever spent money on. Within a month, the PI was able to confirm my suspicions, but it was a shock to find out that it was his stepsister and his stepmother. Not only that, but he may be the father of his stepsister's newborn baby. I could have killed him, but I kept my composure, and I kept this information to myself and continued to act as normal as possible. Believe me, that was a very difficult thing to do. I slowly started detaching from him and even moved into our spare bedroom, and we continued to drift apart. I moved out, got a new job, and started saving money for our divorce. I got my life in order. Now here we are almost a year later and in the final stages of our divorce, and I've still not told anyone. I've spent the last year preparing for our divorce, because I'll be damned to leave this marriage empty-handed. I wanted to handle our financial affairs first because my husband works for his father, and I didn't want to leave him unemployed during our divorce process. This trash of a man dragged out our divorce and fought me for everything, even things that were mine to begin with. But I kept my calm and I won't say a word until I get everything I deserve. That's when I'll tell his father. And his father is not a man to be messed with. I've been assured the check will clear in 3 days or less, and it's over for Robert, because as soon as that money hits my account, his mother, stepmother, stepsister, brother-in-law, and father will receive a beautifully written email with pictures and videos of what he has been up to. His dad will tear him apart. Count your days, Robert. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Question: why did he think you were divorcing him? For being emotionally manipulative and a neglectful husband, as well as cheating with other women, as there were others that the PI had discovered. I just didn't tell him I knew about his stepsister and stepmother. I really hope for your sake that he doesn't find this and ruin your plans. There was a girl on here who was planning on burning her boyfriend's world to the ground and posted it the night before, and he found it and ruined everything. Oh geez, I was thinking that. Like it wouldn't be hard. What if one of his mates is on here and knows and recognizes it? I just gotta say, I have worked for a private investigator, and cheating spouse cases are sad, but also feel good to solve. Even when it sucks, everyone deserves answers. How often were they hired for that purpose, and were they usually cheating most of the time? It depends. We are hired for that purpose a lot, really. And most of the cases, like all the ones I solved for example, they were cheating. My job is to prove to my client the affair, but when they come with their insights, I already know that's the case. Just go for the proof. Everything changes when you're trying to keep a secret. Genuinely curious, how do you get into that line of work? I job shadowed one actually as a college student while studying criminology. The owner of the business/boss held the private investigator licensure, and where we lived, it was like an umbrella to also cover those that worked for him when doing investigative work. I just happened upon him looking at possible career options and landed a job shadowing position. The private investigator himself had gone to college for criminal justice and served in law enforcement positions, eventually obtaining a private investigator license and starting his own practice. Now for the first update. I got my money, time to send it. To add, his stepmother and stepsister do not know about each other. I don't know how long he has been intimately involved with them, but I do know it started in adulthood for all involved. Now for the second update. Let's clear some things up. When Robert's father remarried, Robert was already a 30-year-old man. So no, he wasn't groomed. And his stepsister was 31 when she met him, so again, no one here is being taken advantage of. All involved were already well into adulthood when meeting and when they started to fool around. As for the money, well honey, that's money he owed me but was being a prick about giving it back. I invested in his business ventures, and he refused to pay me my share. And that's not something I was willing to let slide. You can't get a broke man to pay his debt. So of course I wasn't going to let him be unemployed during our divorce. The aftermath. I sent the email as soon as I saw the money had hit my account. The first to call me was Robert and I picked up. First words out of his mouth was, "You evil witch." I replied with, "Your mama," and I ended the call. The second person to call me is stepsister's husband, and he was just heartbroken. He asked me a ton of questions, and he asked for my divorce lawyer's information. We also discussed him getting a DNA test for all their kids. Through brother-in-law, I found out that there was an all-out war between stepmother and father-in-law. He tried to kick her out, but she locked herself up in the bedroom. While father-in-law was throwing her things outside, stepmother-in-law called her daughter for help. At some point, stepsister and stepmother got in a fight. The fight was so bad that the neighbors called the police. In the scuffle to separate mother and daughter, they hurt one of the police officers and were arrested. They are still in jail because neither of them has anyone willing to bail them out. The following day, I got a call from Robert telling me that his daddy almost ran him over. So he wanted to come stay with me because he's scared that his daddy or brother-in-law will try to beat him again. Robert is scared to go home. His dad and brother-in-law are pretty much camped outside of his place and have already jumped him twice. Robert is terrified. He tried to stay with his mother, and she told him that he had made his bed and should now lie in it. FYI, I am not done with Robert yet. I've got more planned for him. You should let him stay with you and invite the father-in-law and the brother-in-law. Then go to the supermarket. Go and grab a bag of popcorn. And have their fight destroy my new home. I think not. OP, if they did something to him, you'd be liable for inviting them in, knowing they attacked him already. Don't care if it's real or not. I'm getting popcorn ready for the next episode. This kind of thing is the closest I get to watching trashy reality TV. I freaking love it. Oh crap, that hits close to home for me. I never watch reality TV, but I have this sub as a favorite to scroll every day long. He's really asking the woman he cheated on and dragged through a messy divorce if he could stay with her. This man seriously has no self-preservation instincts. Real or not, I'm freaking invested now. My ex-boyfriend called me 4 years later to cry about his girlfriend of 2.5 years breaking up with him and keeps sending me pics of him and his dog and asking for my help for things. I haven't replied to any of the messages or looked at them aside from the thumbnail my phone gives when I receive them. He cheated on me in the 3rd year of our relationship, and I forgave him and dated him for another year. When he called me out of the blue to say, "I'm not sure I want to be with you," then said he needed a week to decide. I called him the next day and broke up with him, and he threw a fit because he said to give him a week. Some people are shameless. I had an ex that emailed me, that we were taking a break and that he would contact me when we would talk again. For context, he was living out of town and told me he would reach out before he was due to come to town again to see if we would talk about our relationship. Called me a week later upset that I didn't try to reach out. I told him, if anything, I was just following what he told me. He asked, "So, are we going to get back together or what?" My reply was hanging up on him. They really are shameless. Now for the last story. Update. I found out that I'm the other woman. I told the wife. Original post. A few days ago, I found out that a guy I used to date last winter had given me a fake last name, got married in early spring, and had been engaged living with his fiancée the entire time we were dating. And as we continued to hook up every now and then, in the months following us no longer dating. He was able to hide his wife from me in a variety of ways. That all added up to be a perfect scenario for him to continue to lead me on, and without me seeing a reason to ask many questions. For example, he was a coach and had weird work hours. Like very early mornings and evenings after normal work hours. So many of our dates were lunch dates. He was also going through a messy custody hearing for his son that was scheduled for March 2022. So when he started to be busy a lot, I understood and didn't ask questions. He had told me he didn't have social media to avoid giving his ex any fuel at all for the hearing. So when I couldn't find him online, well, he had already told me why. At the time, there was no solid reason for me to distrust him even if things sometimes felt a little off in my gut. At one point, I did question his interest in me when he didn't reply for a few days, and he told me, "Sorry, busy weekend with my son." He would reassure me and apologize. So he had many chances to set me free even without coming clean. He could have just said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore, I wish you the best." And I feel so stupid for thinking what a great father he was for being so focused on his son when he had his weekends with him. He eventually was honest with me as the custody hearing got closer and told me that he needed to be focused on that and that he couldn't give me what I deserved in a relationship right now. When we stopped seeing each other regularly, we stayed in contact and occasionally slept together since we were both single, or so I thought. I even looked back through my calendar and we saw each other 2 days after his wedding weekend. Eek. I found out that he was married when I mentioned him at a business, and someone who worked there said they think he was their coach. I'm purposefully keeping that vague because when I confronted him, he tried to get me to tell him who it was that he coached who told me. I wasn't going to play that game. So, we looked up his coaching profile to see if we were talking about the same person. And there he was, smiling with a different last name than what he had told me 10 months ago. With the description saying he likes to spend time with his wife, his son, same name he told me, and dog, same name he told me. More Googling at home brought up a wedding registry for a wedding in April 2022. Both of their Facebook profiles where they are in each other's pictures, and the house he lives in with the wife's name as the owner. I feel so disgusted, deceived, targeted, hurt, mad, sad, shocked. So, ladies and supporters of ladies, do I tell the wife? Part of me wants to, so that she isn't also being deceived by this guy, and so he doesn't get away with it. But I also want to just be done with it, move on, and never think about him again. I'm afraid to open a door that I can't close by involving myself more into his twisted life. I'm slightly concerned about his reaction if I tell him, like my own safety or that of my property since he knows where I live. Or if there's any other way a cruel and cunning person would get revenge that I'm not thinking of. Any advice or similar experiences? Thank you. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Yes, she needs to get tested. You need to get tested, and he needs to be alone. I thought you meant religiously tested and was actually like, yes sister. Then got it after the second sentence. Ugh, this man. I hate it. Damn, yes. As someone who's been the wife, tell her and tell her right now. I'll second the yes. Do you know why he is having a custody hearing for his son? Could this have maybe been that he is a serial cheater and he has cheated on a former partner or cheated with the mother of his son? Just my thoughts when I hear a situation like this. He told me they broke up because she changed a lot. He didn't use such neutral wording and became horrible. And he worked too much and wasn't around enough for her and their son. I have no idea how much of this is true. He told me a lot about the ex that made her seem very irrational and angry. But I feel like guys like him tend to like to make themselves the victims too, so who knows what she is really like. Edit. I really appreciate everyone's advice and sharing your past experiences. It's all been very helpful and was exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to tell the wife as anonymously as I can, as soon as I can, once I figure out how to do it in a way that makes me feel safe in case things explode. And now for the update. After protecting myself and my identity in what ways I could, I told the wife. I found her number and texted her a brief factual message that her husband cheated on her. The date we matched on Bumble, how I had no idea he was engaged or married, the fake last name, and how he never mentioned her but did mention other people in his life. I gave her a few screenshots to demonstrate that it went on over a series of months. She replied the next day thanking me. She said she was on her way to her parents' house and was planning on filing for divorce as soon as possible. She had been suspicious after testing positive for HPV about a month ago. As I and you guys suspected from the house being only in her name. Apparently, he is completely financially dependent on her, and everything he told me about having investments in small businesses is a lie. I also found out that in addition to a fake last name, he gave me a fake phone number too. She cautioned that he may try to retaliate once she gives him the news, and she will message me before she gives him the papers, so that I can go to a friend's house for a few days if I feel the need. It's been a stressful and emotional past few days. I'm upset that men like this exist, but proud of myself for telling her. Thankful to my friends and to all of you who encouraged me to tell her. Proud of her for leaving him. A little bit scared of what he will do. Sweet baby Jeebus. I'm so overjoyed to see two women taking care of each other instead of one placing blame on another who tried to do the right thing. You two are a wonderful example. Love this. I found two overseas best friends this way. Found out my ex-boyfriend had cheated on me with a plethora of girls, a few overseas who obviously didn't know him day to day. I legit created a group chat and added like 12 to 15 girls and explained I had an engagement ring on and we'd been together just over a year. After one of them messaged me genuinely terrified I would be fuming with her. I'd left him but didn't want them getting hurt. Not one of us was angry at the other. A few just moved on, but I ended up with two American besties who even helped me make the last few messages I sent him with facts from them to prove his cheating. Not one of them knew about me. I can't be pissed at them for that. I'm glad she's giving you the updates along the way, so you can protect yourself. Sorry you have to go through this and happy that you're on the other side now. That's awesome, the wife seems chill about it. Maybe she already had suspicion of him doing it. Also, damn though. If she says he might retaliate, that's messed up. Stay safe. Good on you for outing a D-head. It's hard to say from just a short post. Based on what we were told in my own very unfortunate experiences, I would peg this guy for a narcissist. They distort reality and manipulate people at will in such crazy ways. When you call out the truth, you're assaulting them. It's extremely irrational, which is why it's so hard to manage. So if you hit them hard enough or enough times, with truths that attack them and their false realities, they lash out. Because in their world you're the enemy, and their actions are justified. My ex tried to start a fight with a lady in the airport one time because she was rude to her. The lady realized she struck a nerve with my ex and just kept needling her. I thought they were both acting like ignorant jerks. Bunch of grown women acting like children in public. When I told my ex I was embarrassed, she got mad at me. My mind was blown that she couldn't understand my point of view. Two 30-plus-year-old women fighting because someone cut in line. Here's some humor to close it out. How do you know a narcissist is lying? Their lips are moving. I started saying, just because you say it doesn't make it true, to my ex right before I vanished from his life. He never had anything to come back with on that.